Can't forget that. Here we go. Okay, we're waiting for everything to come up. And sending data. We are streaming. So Jordan, count me in 10 seconds and we'll play the music.
All right. 10, 9,
Nine,
8,
eight,
7,
seven,
6,
six, five. This is
5,
homegrown.
4,
Four, three,
3,
Three,
two.
two,
2.
Here we go.
one.
Come on, ladies, let's dance.
Welcome to Read My Lips Radio, a lively hour of unscripted conversations with savvy creatives. Producer and host, akaRadioRed, asks novelists, artists, photographers, designers, comedians, actors, musicians, composers, screenwriters, directors, and technology innovators about their creative passion, inspirational muses, and how they create. Ooh, how those lips can talk. Now, here's AKA Radio Red.
Thank you very much to the wonderful voice who introduces me. I'm AKA Radio Red in the house. It's Monday. Where else would Radio Red be? Honestly, I wait all week for this show to come around. This is my fun time to talk to interesting people, all walks of life, all creative efforts and venues and styles and whatever they do. I want to talk to them. And today I have three very smart, very gorgeous ladies with me. And I met one a couple of years ago, Jan Burl, on Facebook. She's been following my show and she's been on before. There's Jan. And I met Jean Burgess and Jen Fort at the National Publicity Summit. Ladies, you can wave hello. And before we really get started, ladies, we have something to do. We didn't rehearse this, so let's see how it goes. Jan knows. I want you to put up your fingers in the shape of the letter L. And on the count of three, yes, we're still doing that, Jan. On the count of three, you're going to join me in saying just
Wait.
like this. Oh, either way is fine, Jen. Hello, LLL. One, that fast. Hello, LLL. One, two, three. Hello, L, L, L. Jordan, they just jumped to the top. They're absolutely number one ever, the best, most in sync, and we didn't even talk about it. Well, Jan knew about it already, but the other, and this is the J show today. We have Jean, Jan, and Jen, and Jordan is my engineer, so I think that's very special. I didn't change my name to J. We're just going to go with AK Radio Red today, April 14th. I can't believe the year is flying by, just trucking on by. 10 minutes ago, it was New Year's Eve. And now it's the middle of April. Tomorrow is tax day. Mine are done. We won't ask anybody else. I don't want to get upset here. This is the 104th day of 2025 in the Gregorian calendar. And I don't know if all of you know, but Julian used to do the calendar. And Julian had a problem in October because he missed about 2 days, 10 days, 2 weeks. And people in the middle of October didn't get to celebrate their birthdays because they disappeared off the calendar. So Gregorian came along and he said, I may be a pope, but I'm going to be very creative. And my mom will be very proud of me. And I'm going to make a leap year every fourth year and add a day. And there you go. And then we have the Gregorian calendar. And now people like me in October get to celebrate our birthday. So there. We have 261 days left for the year. And Jan knows I usually give a warning on get something interesting to drink on the next New Year's Eve, but it's too soon for that, even for that now. This is the 15th Monday, and nobody gives a you-know-what about that except me. So I have an opening poem, a rhyming intro with a little gift for each of you. I hope you enjoy it. When I call your name, just wave. So, of course, everybody knows who you are, but just wave. Here we go. So, welcome to Read My Lips, where AKA Radio Red shines bright. Can you see me shining? Bringing cool conversations with creatives for your delight. In her Scarlett Mike's live streaming glow, she opens the door for creative sparks to ignite and inspiration to soar. See, door and soar rhyme. We'll explore the tiny and big sparks of creativity bold as today's guest creative stories unfold. Jean Burgess, Jan Burl, and Jen Fort, too, are here to share their journeys with you. Here we go. Jean is first. From sidewalk stages to bright marquee light, Jean Burgess has dazzled with talent and might. An actor, director, Jean's stories all soar. In fiction and plays, her voice shines even more. With a big band past and a feminist view, she paints the 90s in a bold, vivid hue. From tap shoes to chapters, Jean's path is clear, a creative crusader who holds her truth dear. Jean, what'd you think?
I did. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. And now Jan Burl is next. Jan S. Burl rose from deep heartache, silence, and pain. Then a stroke stole her voice, but not her refrain. A poet, a fighter with fierce grace and grit. Jan turned every setback to fuel her true wit. From farm life to healing with courage that glows, Jan helps those wounded find hope as they grow. With verses that bloom from her life's winding bends, Jan crafts soulful gardens and uplifts with her pens. Jan?
I love that. Thank you, Bonnie.
You're very welcome. I'm Red today. Remember, I don't know who Bonnie is.
Right.
I'm Red.
I'm
There
sorry.
you go. No, that's okay. We have trouble with identities here. And Jen Fort. With tree climbing spirit and laughter so wide, Jen Forts lived boldly with wonder her guide. She raised her kids solo, then married a Brit. Now they leap off cliffs and say, "This is it." A collector of stories of moments that teach with humor and heart, Jen helps others reach. Her project spreads wisdom from lessons once raw. Jen's gift is connection, awe-inspiring, quite the draw. Okay, I hope you like that.
Love it.
Good.
Love it.
Now let me finish. So gather round, lend us your eye and your ear as we dive into creativity with vision clear. At Radio Red's Roundtable, it's set today. We hope to inspire you to live large, love life, and play. I hope you all enjoyed that. How'd we do?
Absolutely. Loved it. Loved it.
I have a co-writer on the opening rhymes. I don't call them poems. I call them rhyming intros, rhyming bios. Her name is Sylvie. She's French, and she is my virtual assistant. And she wrote this to me. She said, "Ooh la la, merci beaucoup, cher Red. I'm twirling with joy over here. Your word means the world. If your show guests bring half the magic you do, cool conversations will shine like a Broadway spotlight. So no pressure, ladies." And then she said, "Mais oui, with your flair, fire, and fabulousness, how could I not be your loyal Sylvie's sidekick avec un grand ooh la la?" And that's where I'm going to lead. She says, "Vive la créativité, ma chère." There we go. My dear friend. We're good friends. And I'll tell you later who she really is. Okay, so let's go around the table in 8 lines of rhyming overview. It's hard to hit all the hot spots, the high points of your life, but I tried. So what I'd like to do is go around the table. Let's start with Jean. I'm going to put you on speaker view. Take about 3 minutes. I know it's a whole life story, but 3 minutes is all you get. What kind of a show is this? Anyway, just give us a little more filling in the blanks, please. And Jean Burgess, welcome. So nice to have you. Go ahead.
Thank you so much. Who I am now is a writer. But as you mentioned in your poem, I came from a theater background. I was an actor and director professionally for many years. And then that led to a theater educator on the college level and the high school level for many, many years. And then I did a little side trip and was a marketer for 10 years, but let's not talk about that. Although creativity reigns in the marketing world as well. But now I write both fiction and nonfiction. Right now I'm focused on a couple of fictions that actually take place in the 1970s and 80s. So I call them retro fictions. I totally made up that genre. That's not really a genre, but that's what we creatives do, right?
It is now, right?
We just make it up, make it
Breaking
work.
news. Well, isn't that what creatives do? Don't we make everything up?
We
really?
do. We
Okay.
do indeed. That's
Continue,
what we do.
Jean. Continue.
All
a little more.
right. You alluded in your poem about sidewalk. I loved that sidewalk stage. So my background it started, I think, right out of the womb. I was attracted to the performing arts, to singing and dancing, and my parents really supported that, which led to that sort of career. And now I'm reflecting that in the books that I write. So I sang with a swing band in the 70s, and that's what my first book was about. So it's a crazy little world that revolves and influences us.
Thank you
that's
very
me.
much. Thank you. And you sent me the PDF of your book, and I read part of it when you sent it to me, Jean. It's fascinating about your getting this job with the band and what it was really like being in a band and being on the
Yes.
road, and the woman who welcomed you, and everything was way out of what you were expecting it to be. And
Right.
you survived and you thrived. So thank you very much for that, and welcome. Let's go to Jan Burl. Jan, it's been a couple of years, and I'm so happy to have you back. I'm putting you on speaker view, and why don't you fill in the blanks for us? Go ahead.
Well, Bonnie, Well read.
I'm here.
It is so wonderful to be on here with you again. I feel honored. My journey started as an abused child where I met a Native American who showed me the book, a book of poetry by Wordsworth and everybody amazing. And it started me writing. Flash ahead to when I hit 50, I had a stroke. I was still living my life for everybody else, getting 3 hours of sleep a night, and God said enough. And when I woke up, I couldn't speak. I had aphasia. I couldn't read or write, couldn't walk. And everybody, including the doctors, said my life was pretty much over. And I said, watch me.
Ooh. Oh, wait a minute. Say that again. You said, watch me.
Watch me.
Let's have a little applause here for our creative who was going to become very creative at that point. Go ahead, Jan. I had to stop you. Go ahead.
No, that's fine because I still have to be very creative because I only have one hand that works. So my crocheting, my dragon, everything is done just with the one hand. But I went back to work after a year substitute teaching, and when COVID hit, I went back to college and I got my master's degree in creative writing and poetry. I've had so many jobs after then that have been so neat. I won't get into it. And I started writing children's books, which I was on your show way back when with my children's books. But now I've written poetry books. I have 3 poetry books out and a book on coaching for stroke and traumatic brain injury individuals. And that's my life so far.
So far. I like the so far. You really came back from somewhere you never expected or intended to go, and they told you couldn't, and here you are. Jan, it's always a delight, and you've been such a loyal follower of my show and comments on YouTube, and I appreciate that very much. And I'm glad you're getting a chance to meet Jean and Jen, and well, you met Jordan already because he did the countdown for us. So yes, we got 4 J's today. Thank you, Jan. Welcome back. Jen Ford, I'm putting you on speaker view. Let's know more about you. It's your turn.
Red.
Go.
I wore my red for you today.
Thank you, dear. I appreciate that. Go ahead.
So, I was a kind of an outdoorsy child, always out in the morning until night, all my little adventures. And then you grow up and you start working. And I was a single parent for 20 some years. And I think my creativity was stuffed down in my back pocket. And I really didn't tap into that a whole lot until the kids are grown. And I had a bit of a career implosion, and that kind of busted my life wide open. My brand of creativity is connecting with people and humor and photography mainly. I love being, my favorite place is out in the wild open on the back of a horse, just experience. It's just my happy place. And then I just love humor. I'm always playing with people, and I just believe that life just, you can't take it too seriously.
There you go. They say we shouldn't take ourselves too seriously, but I suffer from that syndrome. Is like, what did he say to me? What did she say to me? What did they mean? What am I going to do about it? Oh my God, I'm wounded. Stop that for
Well, then you
goodness sake.
call me and we'll pull you out of that.
There you go. Thank you very much. Ladies, thank you so much for the filling in the blanks for us. Now we're going to go to the opening quotes. I asked each of you to pick a lyric from a song or a character quote from a fictional character from a movie or a TV show, and let's see what you got. And I've done some research. If I would spend the whole show if I told you everything I found, but I'll just summarize briefly. Jean Burgess, we're going to start with you, and you've picked the name of an album and a song by one of my favorite all-time bands, Earth, Wind, and Fire. This one called EW ampersand F or EWF. I didn't know there was an abbreviation. A band in Chicago. They started in 1969. They encompass jazz, R&B, soul, funk, disco, pop, Latin, Afro pop, and a lot of horns. And I didn't know this, Jean, they're one of the best-selling bands of all time. They've sold over 90 million records. I did not know that. 90 million records. Maurice White, of course, formed the band, and prominent members. I have a whole list here. This is their 6th studio album, and the title of the album and the second song, actually, is what Jean has picked to talk about today. That's the Way of the World. Oh my, Jean, talk to us. How'd you pick this one?
Yeah, well, it was, my husband is a musician, so let me he's a keyboard player and he loves horn bands and he's played in a lot of them. So he's given me quite an education into that era of music. And when I was doing research for the book that I wrote, it has a lot of all different kinds of music, not just the swing band music that the central character finds herself in as a singer, which was like my experience. But I mentioned that song in it, and I listened to it a lot, of course, as a researcher, as a writer, and it just spoke to me. I just fell in love with it, and I just listened to it over and over. Just the lyrics about looking into your soul, into your heart, and finding peace. And I guess, I'm writing a draft. I needed that peace of mind. I needed that. A lot of times I will meditate during writing just to relieve some anxiety that sometimes writing will bring up, or get over a problem, a writing problem, a writing challenge. It just spoke to me in that way. It's a beautiful song. It's a fabulous band. If you like R&B, you like
Love it.
that, just their voices, the horns. I like horn bands myself. I can't help it. My husband influenced me that way, but we're good that way. We're a good team.
Well, I want you to know that the first song on that album is Shining Star, and that's one of my favorites, my all-time favorites.
It's
by
another one. That's
Earth,
another.
Wind, and Fire. It was #1 on the Billboard Hot 100 and the Hot Soul Singles. It got the Grammy for Best R&B Performance by a Duo or a Group. And the album's title track, the one we're talking about, The Way of the World, reached #5 on the Billboard Hot Soul Singles chart and #12 on the Hot 100 chart. And Daryl Eslia from BBC said, "Seen as a meditation on the rules of living, the album is nothing less than a spiritual soul masterpiece. Maurice White synthesized
nice.
all the elements of the group. I do my research. All the elements of the group so far: straight up funk, African mysticism, jazz, and sublime balladry. A brief, focused album." I thought you'd enjoy that. So
I love that.
there you
And that's exactly what I'm saying. I mean, we need to return to this kind of music.
Yep.
I don't like to
agree.
tell people what to do, but
It's a good idea, though. It's a good idea. If anybody's too young to remember Earth, Wind, and Fire, go find it. It's on all of the streaming services, and their music is wonderful. It's exciting and it's energizing and invigorating and hopeful and happy, and it moves you. We'll just leave it at that. So
It
thank you,
does.
Jean. Jan Burl has picked a quote from, let's see now, Babylon, a space opera TV series. The episode in season 4 was called The Paragon of Animals, and it aired on February 4th, 1998. Jan, do you realize that is 27 years ago? Oh my goodness. In this scene, President John Sheridan, played by the actor Bruce Boxleitner, was talking to G. Carr, G apostrophe K-I-R, played by Andreas Katsoulis. And interesting story, Jan. After a 1993 test pilot movie called Babylon 5: The Gathering, Warner Brothers commissioned the series, and it debuted in 1994 for 5 22-episode seasons. And the plot is a human military staff and alien diplomats are stationed on a Babylon 5 space station built after major interspecies war. Oh my goodness, wars as a neutral ground for galactic diplomacy. A lot of big words here, in trade. The humans become pivotal to the resistance against Earth descent into, we'll leave off the last word here. Also, I want to tell you, Jan, that the episode takes place in the future year 2262, and the title, The Paragon of Animals, comes from Shakespeare's Hamlet, Act 2, Scene 2. Did you know that, Jan?
Yes, I did.
You did. I'm not surprised. And the quote from Shakespeare is, "What a piece of work is man! How noble in reason, how infinite in faculty, in form and moving, how express and admirable. In action, how like an angel. In apprehension, how like a god. The beauty of the world, the paragon of animals." And here is the line Jan has picked. "The universe speaks in many languages, but only one voice. It speaks in the language of hope." Jan, what a beautiful quote. Go ahead. What does this have to do with your creativity? I think we know, but we want to hear you.
Well, first off, I know the music writer, which made me fall in love with the whole series, but the things that were said were just so deep and so multifaceted. And I love the way they take things and look at it another way. And the different ways are something that I have had to find how to do. And it was not an easy thing because we are so conditioned to do things one way. And when you lose that ability, you can either drown in sorrow or shake it off and go figure it out. So I took that line and I said, yes, I can do this. I can figure things out. I can do everything I did before, just a lot slower and in creative ways.
There you go. Thank you very much. And hope, of course, is the key word in there as far as I can tell, Jan. And it's a beautiful quote. Thank you. And I'm always enjoying the research of my guest quotes. So I dive in if I can't. And sometimes guests will say a line and they'll give me the name of the show. They won't tell me who said it or what year or what episode. I'll dive in for it. I'll give it about an hour. And after that, I say, could you please give me a few more clues here? That's okay. So thank you. This was a delight to get to know that. And I never saw the series, but maybe it's time. Okay, we have a bird here on the bird feeder, and as soon as it shows its pretty face, I will show it to you. I will hold it up. But in the meantime, let's go. Well, let me just show it up. I'll show you for a second here. This is the latest visitor. Can you see it? It's hiding in the shadows there. I should be showing my house. Shadow bird, yes. I'm not sure what it is. And it's not even eating. It's just looking. It's probably talking to somebody on the other part of the lawn. There we go. Sorry about the interruption. Anyway, and the charger is up to 20% because of the solar panel. How beautiful. Okay, so let's go to Jen. And Jen Ford has sent us a quote from Cypher Rage, Raige, character played by Will Smith. The film is After Earth, 2013 sci-fi film. Cypher is a legendary general in the Ranger Corps, a peacekeeping organization on Nova Prime, and the father of Kitay Rage, played by his real-life son, Jaden Smith. There you go. A post-apocalyptic action-adventure film co-produced and directed by, well, we should have known, M. Night Shyamalan, who co-wrote the script with Gary Whitta, loosely based on the story from Will Smith. He wrote the idea about a father and son trip in the wilderness. Then they reworked it into a sci-fi setting 1,000 years in the future where humans evacuated the Earth. I think we're seeing a theme here in your quotes, ladies. To another planet due to an environmental catastrophe. They crash land on abandoned Earth, and the father has to go find a beacon light for a distress signal to help the son, blah, blah, blah. And there are animals and extraterrestrial creatures who can smell fear. The critics didn't like it, but guess what? It made $243.8 million on a little budget of only $130 million. So it almost doubled the take versus the budget. There we go. And you thought I'd never get to the quote, but here it is. Fear is not real. It is a product of thoughts you create. Do not misunderstand me. Danger is very real, but fear is a choice. Oh, Jen, this is interesting. Talk to us.
Deep?
Yeah. It's
Well,
too deep. Go ahead.
Will Smith and M. Night Shyamalan are both from Philly. And what I love about this is with my husband and I, we are adventure travelers. There is nothing we will not jump off of, dive under, you name it, we do it. And what you learn is that fear is just the opposite side of excitement. And there is things that we do that we stay away from the things that are too dangerous, but we will do things that people just shake their head at. The mountains that we've jumped off and climbed up, it's just you have to wrap your head around what you're doing. And is it dangerous or is it fear? And fear, you just have to flip a switch in your mind and it's excitement. And we've done, oh my gosh, Peru, Africa, you name it. We've whitewater rafted the Zambezi River. We've climbed mountains and past Machu Picchu. We've done all kinds of stuff. And it's so stinking exciting. And that just leads to the people that we meet on those trips. That helps fuel the creativity. So there's really not much that we won't try.
Very interesting. Very interesting. My position on creativity is that we're all creating our life because I don't think we came out of whomever we came out of or wherever we emerged from originally with a handbook of exactly, oh, sure, people told us what to do. They told us what they wanted us to do and where they want us to go, what they want us to become. But most of us had a lot of free will in that, and we created whatever it is. And Jan, the road took a very disastrous turn for you when you turned it around. And Jen, you raised your kids alone for all those years, and then you met somebody who wants to jump off cliffs with you, and you look thrilled. And Jean, you were an actress, and you're doing all kinds of things now. And I started out being very shy, if you can believe that. And yet I played the piano at my sixth grade graduation in a dress that I sewed, and I can't believe it, but I still tell you I was very, very shy. So we'll leave that one alone. But anyway, I was a programmer analyst back in the day. I'm considered an early woman in tech, and I didn't realize for years that I could speak and write in English as well as I could in COBOL and PL1 and other programming languages. And one day I woke up and said, I think I can write and speak in English. And that's when I started in TV and radio. And it was one of those awakenings. And I was really, really surprised. So there you go. We've all had those pivotal moments, I think. So let's go to your creativity statements, ladies. And you all were very gracious and sent me 4 statements. And I've picked a couple from each of you. I'm going to read 2 for Eugene and 2 for Jan and 2 for Jen. And I want you to just take a few minutes to wrap your arm. We're way ahead of schedule, by the way. We're doing extremely well on time. So take your time. So Jean, I'm looking at this. You say, I find my creativity often requires a spark, however tiny, and that's part of how I named this episode, the tiny and big sparks of creativity. My creativity often requires a spark, however tiny, an image, a newspaper article, a childhood memory, a piece of driftwood. Wow, didn't expect that. And then the statement number 4, I'm combining with that, Jean, is I'm getting better at getting out of my own creativity's way by being less self-critical. My new mantra, just trust the process. This is a big deal, Jean. So I'm going to let you go on speaker view. I'm going to put you on speaker view, and then I'm going to go back to gallery view and see if Jen and Jan, I'm getting it right, ladies, Jen and Jan have anything to say, because this is a part of the show where we share insights and commonalities, or I couldn't even do that. It's fine. So Jean, I'm putting you on speaker view. Why don't you just pull these apart and unpack them for us a little bit, please?
Sure.
Go ahead.
Yeah, sure. Well, one of the things with the image or an object, a found object, I'm a very visual learner. So those kinds of things really resonate with me. But even an article that has an idea, I can really sort of riff on. And that will be the kernel that I can kind of spin a story or a play. I have a lot of short plays that I've written, and a few have gotten published in other works. That's kind of how I need something. I can't just like dig in there and there's something in there. I sort of need that spark. So that's how my process works.
Well, talk to us about the driftwood. What kind of driftwood have you seen that spark? What did it spark?
Yeah, just maybe I'm not a poet, and I'm loving that you all seem to write poetry. I'm really not, but I dabble because I think it's good to work with words. That's more in my journal, and I don't share it with anybody. But a piece of driftwood that I found on the beach on maybe a gray day, putting that together, and I bring that home and it sits on my desk, that might spark in my journal work, a little poem or a little short story that sits there for a while and then maybe finds its way into a longer piece or a play or a whatever. So that's what I mean about a spark, that's spark. But like I said, that's kind of a scaffolding thing. I like that something concrete helps me. And I think it is because I am a visual learner. Some people will, they don't need that. They've got it all up here. God bless them. But
I want to go to the other ladies and see what they have to say before we go to your second statement about getting out of your creativity way. Jan, anything resonate with you about needing something visual to
I love the
ignite?
randomness. I love how random, it's just something that's totally unrelated and it just speaks to you and you have no idea where it's going to come from or what it's going to turn into. But it just, when it captures your attention, you know that you have to go there. You have to take it home. You have to pick it up, take it home, and see what it turns into. I think that's the magic. I love that.
That's fun. Jan, I know you wanted to say something.
I joined an online dating group, and I started seeing these amazing way that guys would reach out, poetic in a way, with small sentences here and there. And I started pulling this sentence out and saying, wow, this could be a poem. And I started writing the poetry because of this. So
I've never that's like a word salad thing, right? Where you've seen people look through a page of writing and they'll highlight a line here, a line here, and then they make it into something. I've seen
Yes.
that recently. Isn't that interesting? Do you have one of those poems for us today, Jan?
I sure do.
Well, let's wait until I get to your statements right after we finish with Jean, because we'd love to hear that. Jean, go ahead and add the fourth statement I read about how you have to get out of your own way.
Yeah, so and again, this is just me. It's nobody else's, journey, but I tended to be just so self-critical, and this is in both my writing, but also in my acting, where I would maybe kind of be so nervous at an audition and going, oh, I messed that up. Oh, I could have done it while I was auditioning. And if I would have just let go, relax, go with the flow, I probably could have done a lot better. So these are things that I learned along the way, and I did improve, but I also noticed that same tendency in my writing. So I would, this is my second fiction, and I also had an earlier published nonfiction, but in my writing, I'd be so critical in the first early drafts. And if I could just, I'm learning, still learning, trust the process. If my character wants to go this way, go along with it.
Yes, characters do talk to us, don't they?
Yes, they do.
They tell us, you're my channel. This is what I'm going to say. The hell with you. Go ahead, Jean.
Well, I tend to start with an outline, but sometimes, my outline is, I can be very, or an outline can make you rigid. But I'm learning, well, if my outline wants to expand this way, go with it. And it is so freeing to learn that lesson and to continue to learn that lesson. So that's what I mean about trust the process. Allow yourself. Don't be so critical. Don't let go of that negative chatterbox that's in the back of your head.
That's criticizing and putting you in your place. Have you heard of pantsers versus plotters, Jean?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, okay.
And I know I am a plotter.
Yeah.
And that's not, there's nothing wrong with that,
No,
as long as it
it
doesn't
works for you.
restrict you.
Absolutely. I want to go to the ladies. Jan, this time, any comments about trusting the process and not telling yourself no?
I'm a pantser.
Okay.
That doesn't
too.
surprise me one bit, Jan.
Me too. Absolutely. Do you trust the process, Jan? Do you talk to yourself and say, that wasn't any good, don't write that? Do you tell yourself that?
No, actually, I just let it go and write.
Yep, there you go. Jen Fort, any thoughts?
Where I relate to that, what resonated with me was when we travel and we plan for these epic vacations. I always say, I always plan, but I leave room for the magic. And that's usually where some of the most amazing moments come from, is when you don't have something rigid, you don't have something set, and you just let it happen.
And that's what we're doing here right now. Jean, thank you so much. Jan, I want to read 2 creativity statements from you, and instead of you unpacking them, I'd like you to read a couple poems. Is that okay with you? So 2 of the statements you sent that really resonated with me, Jan says, during the hours of the wolf, when most people are taking a much needed rest, my mind starts to run. And if I don't get up and write, the thoughts disappear, never to be heard of again, leaving the world with less thoughts to brighten someone's day, which sadly no one will ever realize save me. That's 1. And your next statement was, my creations in painting and words come from a place in my mind that some call the subconscious, but I call it my muse. It speaks to me in pictures, in thoughts, and with music, and I listen. Jan, that was beautiful. I think that was a poem. So, Jan, why don't you read a couple for us? Or we'd love to hear one from the dating things. Go ahead.
I've got a good one for you. It's nice and short.
Okay.
It's called I'll Be Waiting. Beneath endless skies I wander, a map drawn only in my heart. Its lines etched in whispers and dreams, each step a call through the silence. To you, who are there, somewhere. The wind carries 1,000 faces, none of which are yours, and still I search. Their voices fade like fleeting shadows, yet I feel the pull of your soul, a star that has always been. Though nights grow long and quiet, I will not build a fire with doubt. I will not barter my dreams for less. My heart knows the truth it holds. You are worth every moment of waiting. So I stand here with arms wide, a garden untended, but full of seeds waiting to grow, trusting time to weave us together when your shadow meets mine, and at last we will become substance.
Nice.
Just have to breathe that in, Jan. Just have to breathe that in. That was beautiful.
Thank
Ladies,
you.
what'd you think?
Nice.
Lovely.
I have such an image in my head of that.
Yep,
Painted
absolutely.
a very nice image with your words.
Well, thank you. That's from my book, Dancing with a Shadow.
That's
It
lovely.
worked.
Lovely, deep and lovely. And I loved your choice of words and the images. It was heavy with images. And I think that's what grabbed each of us in our own way with our own thoughts and our own memories of waiting in the shadow or waiting for someone. Oh, my goodness. Hardly hard to say anything after that. Talk to me about getting up and writing in the hours of the wolf, your thoughts so that they brighten someone's day. Do you get up in the middle of the night or do you keep an iPad or a pen next to your desk, next to your bed, Jan?
A pen would be hard because I was right-handed. I write left-handed, but it takes me a long time and it's really messy. So I have my phone. And I wake up and I type things into my phone. And yes, I wake up at 3 o'clock. I go to bed at 6 o'clock at night these days because if I don't, I'm exhausted. But if I don't get up and write it, it's gone. So I write, usually for about 3-4 hours every morning.
Wow. And you write on your phone? Do you speak into your phone and record it that way, or do you actually type the words?
I type the words. I don't trust my voice with my aphasia. Even though my voice sounds good to most people, it still catches me sometimes. So I tend to just type everything out.
Okay. And you also said painting, your words come from a place that you call the muse. So is the muse in your mind in the hours of the wolf, or is your muse like with Jean, a piece of driftwood, or perhaps jumping off of a cliff like Jen does? Does your muse come from here, or do you think that we all have a muse that's inside of us? I'm curious about that, and we'll go around the table. Jan?
My muse is both inside and outside. I take things from what I see. I write a lot of nature poetry. But it's also from my heart and my mind, and it sees things and shapes some of my poetry into these shapes. I have a poem that has the Eiffel Tower in it. The words form the Eiffel Tower. So that's called concrete poetry, and I do that as well. So
Very lovely. Jen, what do you think?
I love that. And as far when you're talking about muses, I was thinking, okay, is mine internal or external? I think humor is a big piece of my creativity, and that comes from inside, but also the visual piece comes from nature. So I kind of have these both sides of my creativity. I get them from different places.
I like that. I think that works for me the same way. Jean, what about you?
Well, I've already stated that my sort of inspiration for writing is usually something visual or a little spark. So I think that's more of my muse. And then really all of my life experience that has just built up. It's like this sort of thing in my soul, like this ball of muse type energy that's like a pool that I tap into. I guess that's how I would describe my muse.
Well, I'll give you all an example of mine. Well, first of all, I'm part of a poetry group now. It's just casual, it's a drop in, but it's every day for the month of April and every day for the month of November because those are the 30-day months. And the moderator gives us a prompt online, and then you write as many as you want and you comment. It's a community. But one day, about 8 years ago, I decided I want to write a play. I wanted to write a romantic comedy. I thought, what am I going to do? So I was working full-time job, and at midnight one night, I went online and I said, how do you write a play? What does it look like? What font? How do you space it? How do you set up the scene? How do you set up the characters? And I found a playwriting 101, and it was a Word document, and I downloaded it and I copied it into my own document, and I started writing. And I wrote for 3 nights from I wrote from 1 till 4 in the morning because I needed 3 hours sleep before my workday started. I don't know whether I was working from home at the time. And the play was done. And the characters flowed. They told me what to say. They told me where they were, what they looked like, what their habits were, what their background was, what their language was, who they were, how they were 3 characters. And it just flowed. And then I said, well, what am I going to do with it? It's fun to have it, but so what? So I had my own TV show on Long Island, and I knew people in community theater, and I said to them, how would you like to act in my play? And they said, well, we're busy doing a bunch of other plays, so don't make us work too hard. I said, no, we'll have a teleprompter in front of each of you that will be hidden from the camera, 3 camera shoot. It'll be green screen. You're going to be sitting on a chair in an empty studio with a green curtain behind you, and we'll provide everything. So it took place in a cab. So we had a digital version of a van that was a cab. And we actually had it on a video where the door opened and closed. And then we had sounds of Manhattan. My friend director George went to New York. He was there all the time, and he videoed the sounds of New York in front of Penn Station where it started, and the sounds of buses. And he had videos of buses and cars and taxis in the background. And then I bought a toy steering wheel for the taxi driver, and we installed it on a table in front of him, and we did it. And it was so good that we had another actor wanted to be the taxi driver and the man. The woman was the same, and so she put on a blonde wig. So I did it twice. I learned to coach them. I learned to direct. I learned to compromise on some of the lines I wanted them to say. I learned how to get emotion from them, and we filmed it. And then George and I had to edit it down to 26 minutes because the show was 30 minutes. So we took about an hour and a half. And my mom, who was only 98 at the time, was a piano player, and she composed the opening song for us, a couple of bars, and we rolled that in. And we stayed up one night till 5 in the morning, and we edited it down to 26 minutes, both of them, and we aired them. And it's on my Vimeo channel. I'd be happy to send you all the link if you want to see it. It's called Hail, Hail, as in Hail, Hail, the gang's all here. Mm-hmm. Bittersweet ending, but they spoke to me. They told me exactly what to say. And Jean, this came from who I am and where I've been. And Jan, dating world's about a couple meeting through a dating site. That's the premise, in a taxi. And it's 3 different parts of their lives. I think it was 8 or 10 years apart, starting with Y2K. Just before Y2K, and you all know what that was. So it's interesting, but it comes from things that I knew. So there you go. So I want to go to Jen. Thank you for listening. Jen Fort, let's go to your creativity statements, and I got some fun trivia to share with all of you. So you say, one of my, okay, I like creating magic moments with strangers from a smile, a compliment, or words of encouragement. And then you say, one of my most recent favorite creative moments was photographing my best friend's, my BFF's final ride on her forever heart horse. Jen, tell us a little more, please. Jen.
Oh, yeah. Well, actually, there he is. That's Rainbow.
Oh, my goodness. Tell us the story. What's the backstory?
So my girlfriend is the one, my best friend, she's the one who has all the toys, all the horses. And Rainbow was her heart horse, which is everyone who has ever owned a horse has a heart horse. It's the one that just, it speaks to you. You have this incredible connection, and Rainbow was getting to the end of his incredibly long, wonderful life. And we took him out one day for his final ride. And it was beautiful, tall, flowy green grass, and the sky was just blue and puffy white clouds. And I think I took 1,500 photos of them. And it was just such a magical day. He was coming to the end of his life, but it was just, I feel like he knew that was just a special day for the both of them. And we narrowed it down to a couple dozen photos that are just absolutely stunning. And it's just a lovely memory for the both of them.
And a
It's
lovely creative way for you to show your love for both of them as
Yeah.
well. Lovely. Jan, any reaction to that?
I just was picturing it. It was so beautiful. I have had a heart horse, so yeah.
Oh my. Oh my. Jean, any thoughts?
Well, I think you said it, just a wonderful way for her to connect and use her talent, and it's beautiful. That's lovely.
And Jen, I will say that through your eyes and what you did, creativity is generous.
Mm.
There was a great generosity in what you did.
Yeah.
Gracious and generous. And that shows a lot. So creativity is love, isn't it?
It is, absolutely.
Can be love. See how we get to this? We get around the circle and all kinds of things come out. One more question for you, Jen, and then I want to read some fun stuff. The first statement you gave me, the one I read before, is creating magic moments with strangers from a smile, a compliment, or words of encouragement. Who are the strangers, and what did you create from that, please?
Yeah, I have this incredible desire just to connect with people. I can't help it. I just have to talk to people. And I just not only I have to know something about them. Years ago I challenged myself to meet one new person a week, who they are, their name, and something about them. And I carry that onto our trips. And we've met some amazing people. And I love to just ask them, how did they end up where they are? Tell me something about yourself. We've on our trip to Machu Picchu, we did a 1-day hike, and it was like 8, 9 hours. And we just talked about everything from culture to history and what they would do different, what they love. And I'll collect these tidbits, these bits of wisdom from people everywhere. It could be just a casual conversation, or I ambushed a group of about a dozen retirees one day and just asked them what they did right, what they did wrong in retirement. And I have this collection of over 8,000 bits of wisdom, and I've curated them into books. In the past year, I've published the first 4 in the series, and they're series of 365 bits of wisdom for different life milestones, just from casual conversations, because people are so stinking smart. They don't have to have the MBA or the PhD.
Yep.
Some of the smartest people I've ever met have never stepped foot in a boardroom, never stepped foot on a college campus.
Mm-hmm.
They are just wise. And you just have to capture that, and then you need to share it. And that's kind of what my passion is these days.
That's lovely. That is generous, isn't it? Jan, any comments about her taking those remarks and putting them into books of 365? What do you think?
I love it. It's so needed, and so many people just go around life and they never share, and they should, because what they have is so important for us to learn. Wonderful, Jen.
Thank you.
Jean, any thoughts?
I think that's fun. How fun.
Yep,
For you.
absolutely. Creativity is fun too. Thank you. I want to read you a quick poem. One of my preferences when I write poems with this group is to do an acrostic, and one of the prompts we got was write a blank like blank poem, and I used blank like blank as the letters, so BLANK, LIKE, BLANK, and I wrote a very silly acrostic, and I think you'll enjoy this. Believe in love, always. Never kiss a leprechaun in a kayak. Every boat's like a nervous kangaroo. Jan?
I've never met a nervous kangaroo, but I think I'd like to.
But you would if you'd taken a kayak. There you go. There you go. So I also have a night shift one here. This is a night shift acrostic about being creative. I'll read this to you. So it's NIGHT and that's it, night shift. So never quite really at rest. It's a life of a creative. Going, gripping, gyrating, growling, groaning, growing. Highs and lows floating on a mental Mobius strip. The days are the nights are the days again. Shifting off and on into and out of gear. Hoping for unique brilliance even once. It's a calling, command, curse, roller coaster. Finding eureka, euphoria amid frustration, fears. Thus is the life of the creative.
That's awesome.
That is beautiful.
Thank you. I wrote that about a year ago and I keep it in my notes here. I actually it was July 24th, 2024. I have all my poems dated. So let me do some fun stuff. We got about 4 minutes left. And let's see how fast I can talk. And I think you'll enjoy it. And by the way, there's a quote from Rapunzel that I like to quote on the show. Mandy Moore played Rapunzel in the computer animated adult adventure fantasy film Tangled 2010 3D. And the quote is, venture outside your comfort zone. The rewards are worth it. And the other one from Glinda, the Good Witch of the North. You had the power all along, my dear. I think we're all examples of that. Today, April 14th, 1963, the Beatles filmed an appearance on the show Thank Your Lucky Stars near a club called Crawdaddy in Richmond, England. And the upstart band called the Rolling Stones were performing there, and they met for the first time, 1963. On this date in 69, Barbra Streisand in Funny Girl tied with Katharine Hepburn in The Lion in the Winter for the Best Actress Academy Award. On this day in 1974, on Easter Sunday, the documentary, Ladies and Gentlemen, the Rolling Stones, premiered at New York Ziegfeld Theater. First of its kind, quadraphonic sound system. It was great, but Mick Jagger said the film was boring. Okay. And this day in 79, the Doobie Brothers' second U.S. hit #1, What a Fool Believes, won the Grammy for Record of the Year, Song of the Year, and the album Minute by Minute won the Album of the Year. In this day in 1980, a New Jersey state assemblyman introduced a resolution to make Bruce Springsteen's Born to Run the official song of the state of New Jersey. And let me see if I can find one more here. Let's see. Okay, on this day in 1986, LL Cool J became the first solo rapper with a gold album for his debut album, Radio, certified for 500,000 U.S. sales, and the first platinum solo rapper a year later when his second album, Bigger and Deffer, sold 1 million. There you go. Today is Adrian Brody's birthday, 52. He won the Best Oscar in 2003 for The Pianist, and he was the first Oscar winner under 30. I thought Jodie Foster did, maybe the first male. And 2025, he won the Best Oscar for The Brutalist just last year. He was raised in Queens. I didn't know that. Went to Fiorello LaGuardia High School in Music and Art, and he was a child magician known as the Amazing Adrian. I didn't know that. Peter Capaldi is 67 today. He played the 12th Doctor on Doctor Who. I didn't know, but he was in a punk rock band called the Dream Boys before he was famous with Craig Ferguson, who became a TV host and a comedian. Boy, I would love to have been in that school. Brad Garrett, with that wonderful voice, is 65 today. He played Ray's brother, of course, Robert, on Everybody Loves Raymond, and he was the youngest comedian to perform on Johnny Carson's The Tonight Show at the age of 23. And Anthony Michael Hall is 57 today, the former Brat Pack member, acted in 1980s comedies. We'll leave that one alone. Loretta Lynn was born today. She lived to the age of 90. Singer, movie actress, starred in Coal Miner's Daughter, etc., etc., etc. The first country female singer to earn a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, and Crystal Gayler's her singer. And I have a couple of birthdays here real fast. Today, Kylie Dennison is 30. You've never heard of her. She has 89 million views for one of her videos on, I think she's on YouTube. I don't have it where. Yeah, this is one of my YouTube people. She only has 750,000 subscribers. She does makeup artist posts themed with tutorials and beauty advice and equipment reviews. I just wanted you all to know that. And another one here, we have TWD98. He has 410 million views and 500,000 subscribers for his Mario Kart related content. He does Instagram videos of his travels around the world, and his Twitch streaming partner has 70,000 subscribers. I have no idea what that means. Yesterday's birthdays, we had a young lady named Farah Balinga. She's 38. She has 909 million views on YouTube, and she has a channel with her husband and children, and she's the matriarch of the D. Balinga's YouTube channel, and they vlog about their daily life. I have to go in a minute. On TikTok yesterday, we had Jean Victor Mackey, who only has 9 million fans, obviously just starting out, sketch comedy. And then yesterday, we had Katie Raymond, and her name is the CEO of Mascara. Jan, I want you to think about that. She only has 1.5 million followers, but one of her videos got 2 million views. She does also makeup tutorials and styling inspiration, and she demoed Kylie Jenner's mascara. I love it so much, and she got 2 million views. And today is International Moment of Laughter Day, National Dolphin Day, Donate a Book Day, Ex-Spouse Day, Gardening Day, Look Up at the Sky Day, Pecan Day, Perfume Day. The Egyptians from 30,000 BC to 1,000 were burning incense in religious ceremonies to make perfume. April, the month of Brussels sprouts, cabbage, cranberries, fresh Florida tomatoes, BLT sandwiches, garlic, pecan, soft pretzels, and tomatilla and Asian pears. And in 2014 on this show, I ended with the following top tips for women, and I'll tell you the number one: aspire to be Barbie. The biatch has everything. There you go. That's from 2014. And here's my closing: life is short. Break the rules. Forgive quickly. Nah. Kiss slowly. Yeah. Love truly. Laugh uncontrollably. Ladies, it's National Laugh Day. Go ahead. 1, 2, 3. And never, ever, ever regret anything that made you smile. Here we go. Work like you don't need the money. Dance like no one's watching. They watched when I taught disco in high heels. Oh, yeah. Sing like nobody's listening. Love like you've never been hurt. We all have. Get over it. Let your heart regrow. Money talks. Chocolate sings. And last but not least, I stole this line. Thank you for turning me on. Let me get the closing music here because we're just about ready to go out. I'm going to play it and let's get going. And Jordan, we're almost done here. So ladies, don't go away.
On Read My Lips Radio, producer and host, akaRadioRed, invites you to eavesdrop on her live, unscripted conversations with smart, savvy, creative people as she discovers what makes them tick, where they find their inspiration, when creativity first became their passion, and how their creative process can inspire the rest of us to think out of the box. Enjoy akaRadioRed's always lively, cool conversations with creatives. Oh, how those lips can talk.
There we go. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I'm Radio Red. It's been a pleasure. Ladies, don't go away. Jordan, are we out? Jordan? His mic's off.
All clear.
All clear. So let's say goodbye to our recording. I'm going to turn off, and let's say goodbye to our social. There we go. Bye, social.